What is up, peeps? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Tanya Michelle. I'm just another weirdo spiritual tarot reader person here on the internet. So welcome. We are not all love, light, twin flames, unicorns, and rainbows and shit over here, so please keep that in mind. And welcome to another pick a card reading. This reading is basically all about you, your personality, and what that's like, who the real you is. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. This is pile 1, this is pile 2, this is pile 3, this is pile 4, 5, and 6. So if you are feeling drawn to one of the piles, you can go to the timestamps down below and pick which pile you are being intuitively guided to. We're gonna get deep AF in this reading like usual. Hopefully you guys are staying safe and good out there in this crazy world right now. And yeah, I love you. Let's go ahead and get into it. What's going on pile number 1? This is for those of you that picked the first pile. So let's go ahead and get into your reading and see what your personality is like, who you are deep down, and all of that. So let's go. Ooh la la! The first card you have is the Knight of Wands. And the second card you have is the Sun. Woo! Okay, so... And this is the first pile, so keeping that in mind as well. You guys, what I'm sensing from you is that you are very, very enthusiastic people. You have a lot of energy. You are probably very humorous. You are probably almost a little bit childlike, okay? You're very, very, very passionate. Like, you have this fire just burning inside of you. You're also probably very, very attractive, whether you think so or not. There's just kind of like this energy, this fire burning inside of you. I'm getting a lot of Leo energy, so we're even Aries actually as well. Maybe just fire sign in general. You don't have to have like your sun in those signs. You could have your rising or your moon, or just a lot of planets in those signs. It doesn't matter. But basically what I'm getting here, and right off the bat, I'm just being drawn to these pyramids in this card, if you see. Okay, so I feel like maybe some of you guys could be drawn to Egypt, okay, which is telling me that maybe you have a strong connection to Egypt, and I'm really like seeing it as well. You guys probably really like the warm weather. You probably really like when it's summertime or spring. You're very like, what's the word I'm looking for? You work, okay? You like to put in the work. And yes, there are certain aspects to you as well that can really, you know, alter your path a little bit, that we're gonna talk about in a minute. What normal people would call negative aspects or character defects, and we'll talk about that too. But you guys are just like, you have to keep busy. There is a certain level to you guys where you do like attention, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, because you have this sun here, okay? And the sun is the brightest star in the sky. So yes, like, it likes attention, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We all like attention, but it may come out a little bit different with you, okay? Because you like attention and you like recognition for what you do and your achievements, okay? You probably don't like people telling you what to do very much. You probably like to be in like a leadership position or role. You still do have a lot of like childlike energy I'm feeling here. There are some things that, you know, and it's not that you should never not connect to your inner child. You guys have no problem doing that. You have no problem living life like on the bright side, you know what I mean? But there's a sense here that, you know, getting into the other side of it, that sometimes you don't finish projects, okay? Sometimes you start things but don't finish them. You probably only want to do things that really, really just light that flame within you, that really, really just give you passion, and you know, you have a lot of fire in you. It's like, even if you're not a fire sign, it's like there's just like this desire inside of you, like, you know, and you see how far you can go, and you're determined. Like, there's a sense of determination here. Now, there's also a sense, a little bit of recklessness sometimes. You could have been somewhat spoiled as a child. I was, so I'm not judging you. None of this is to judge you, so just keep that in mind. But you could have been somewhat spoiled as a child, or even had to fight for attention in some way. Because if you see in this card, these two younger people in this card aren't really smiling. They almost look like they're being outshined by the sun. And that's kind of what I'm picking up here for your reading so far, pile number 1. So there are some things that you still need to learn with the Knight of Wands, because it's not the King of Wands or the Queen of Wands. There's still kind of this like adolescence phase that you may be going through, but you're very optimistic. It's easy for you to think on the bright side, you know what I mean? It's easy for you to kind of work through things, but you have a lot of energy, so it's really, really important that you burn some of that off by exercising, by sports, and you may already be into that, okay? But by, you know, really getting into some kind of physical activity that's going to help you burn that energy. And I'm sure you've probably already been into that since a child if you picked this pile. And if you're not relating to this pile, then maybe another pile was meant for you. But basically, you guys are very much into physical activity, sports, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, you like to have attention on you, okay? And there's some kind of reason for that, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? You just need to make sure that you're not seeking it out of validation. You need to make sure, and I said this in one of my last pick a card readings, like, you know, Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun doesn't need to try to shine, it just shines, right? Like, and so sometimes like Leo energy, not saying that you're a Leo, although you could be, but just, you know, to explain what I'm trying to say here is that sometimes Leo energy forgets that it's the sun, right? Like, and it tries to shine, and it doesn't have to try, like, just be, right? And then once Leo energy just is, it shines on its own. It doesn't have to try. And that's kind of what I'm picking up here from you guys, pile number 1. You guys are very attractive. People flock to you. You guys are very courageous. You're very spirited. You're very, very high spirited. Okay. And so it's just important to keep to harness that energy in a way that's healthy for you, okay? Giving it like self-expression is a huge thing here. This is all about individual self-expression, okay? And that's who you are at the core of your being. It is expressive, it is energetic, it is creative, right? It brings form to creativity, and it's bright and it's light and it's like I said, somewhat childlike in a way, but also very positive, very optimistic. So just keep that in mind. Ooh, there we go. Your next card is the King of Wands. And then we have the 8 of Cups. So in terms of this describing your personality, pile number 1, a little bit deeper, with the King of Wands and the Knight of Wands, this tells me that there is this adolescent side to you, but there's also this like no bullshit, okay, time to grow up kind of side that you may bounce back and forth in between. Okay, so that's good. So, you know, and you do have this higher sense of like, okay, it's not time to mess around. But still, there can be some issues here if you're not careful. Normally when we're dealing with the suit wand cards, we're dealing with sometimes anger issues. So you want to make sure that you're keeping control, like you're not keeping control of it, but you are keeping an eye on it, and that you're expressing it through a healthy outlet here. And with the 8 of Cups, this is kind of what I was talking about before, because the 8 of Cups is kind of leaving something behind for better. And that can also go into the Sun and the Knight of Wands with knowing your worth, pile number 1. It could, you know, it's really important for you to know your worth. I think sometimes you guys may not see it at times, and like I was talking about before with the Sun, that can be when you maybe try to shine instead of just letting yourself shine. So it's really important to know your worth. But also, as I was saying, sometimes you can start things and not finish them. Okay, because of all the fire energy that we have going on over here, or sometimes you can leave things behind too quickly because, once again, of all the fire energy we have going on over here. So, okay, so now we have the mouse, and then we have the moth. So what this tells me with the mouse and the moth here is that you guys may have some trouble paying attention to things. Maybe you know, joke around that you have ADD, or maybe you were even diagnosed with ADD as a child, there's a difficulty really focusing, okay? Focusing your energy on something, and it can lead to a lot of kind of here, there, and everywhere, a lot of kind of like jitters or being jittery, like a mouse and a moth, both are kind of like that. The mouse is kind of like detail oriented, but can lack purpose at times. So it's really important that you learn to really focus all of this energy that you have. And like I said, an outlet, some kind of physical outlet, some kind of physical expression, expressive outlet is going to help you tremendously with this pile number 1 if you are struggling with this. Another thing is there can be anxiety I'm kind of getting here. Some of you may be a little bit more prone to anxiety or be a little bit more nitpicky because you expect things to be perfect, like the sun sometimes, right? If it's kind of like your way or the highway sometimes is what I'm kind of getting from this, which, no offense, like I said, you know, we're going over all of it, not just the positive, and we all have certain things, you know what I mean? So don't think that I'm getting on you. But yeah, sometimes you can be a little bit scrutinizing or drive others around you crazy if you're out of focus or if you're out of balance, or if you don't have something with a purpose, like it has to have a meaning or a purpose behind it. Your spirit has to feel like it's fulfilling something, or else it just dies, like, you know what I mean? And that's what the moth here, like the moth has a short life, okay? You know, and so it can be very easy to not finish things that you start, right? And to not really, to kind of get burnt out from time to time, right? And always focus on what's shiny and new, like with the sun here, you know what I mean? And really like wanting to go to the next best thing, or, you know, the grass is always greener on the other side. So yeah, it's really important for you to finish things that you start when you have like a personality like a moth and a mouse together here. To not be too hard on yourself. Once again, like we were talking about before, self-worth I think is a huge thing here. Seeing your confidence, like others see you as super confident and free-spirited when you're in your element, but you may not see yourself as that. You're the damn sun. Like, this is coming up for your personality. You are the damn sun. So own that shit. You're a badass. You know what I mean? Like, don't sit there and downplay your shine when you're the damn sun. Like, you know what I mean? So remember that. So yeah, that is what I'm getting so far. Let's move on to your next cards. Ooh, okay, so you have the threshold and you have the self. Okay, so this goes perfectly with your reading so far, pile number 1. So with the threshold there, all the fire, like we were talking about before, you guys like to push boundaries, okay? So for those that don't follow me, for those of you that don't follow me on my other social media platforms, you probably don't know that I am obsessed with Prince. The singer Prince, yes, I am obsessed. And there's an interview of him, I forget which one it is, but where he's talking about, he was being asked like in his later years about his earlier years when he was younger. And he was talking about how he just really, you know, wanted to see where the threshold was. He really wanted to push things as far as he could so he could see where the line was. And that's kind of what I get that you guys are like here. You guys are just very energetic, and you guys probably have a huge purpose. Like, seriously, you guys probably have a huge purpose. You know, with the sun here, it's definitely, you guys are definitely supposed to be in the spotlight. You are not supposed to be, you know, in the dark, right? And so I really feel that you guys are here to push barriers. You are here to push boundaries. Like, you are here to figure out where the thresholds are in certain situations. Now, this can come with some, you know, some throwback, right? Like, this can come with some backlash of people being pissed at you, or people, you know what I mean, like feeling like uncomfortable because you've pushed too far in some ways. So but yeah, it's all about a balance. Once again, focused energy, because there's not a lot of focused energy here. And with the self, this is all about the whole, all the different parts that we have, okay, within us. You may have all these different parts of you, all these different characteristics, all these different characters even. We all have this, so it's not just like it's you, so don't feel like I'm calling you out or saying anything bad about this. It's like, that's how we are, right? Our ego has a lot of different masks that it wears, but with this card, this is about the self. This isn't about the ego. This is about the self behind the self. So, and it's really important for you with, I think, threshold here right next to it, to really get familiar with that threshold, to really take a step back, take a step out of ego sometimes, and let yourself be the spirit, because that's what you are. People have probably tried to like calm you down your whole life. Pile number one, like you guys are those people. You guys are like warriors. That's really what I'm getting here. You guys are like spiritual warriors. People have probably tried to calm you down your whole entire life. That's why some of you may have gotten diagnosed with like ADD or ADHD. You know what I mean? But no, it's because you have a mission, and you know that you have a mission, okay? Like that fire is burning, and if you're watching this, if this is relating, then you are the kind of person that cannot put out that fire, okay? And the effects of having that fire are the mouse and the moth, like we talked about. You know, losing a sense of direction, not knowing where to aim the fire, right? Not knowing how to control the fire within you. And that's where the self comes in. That's where it's like so important for you to get in touch with the self behind the self, the you behind the you behind the ego, to start watching yourself, to start being aware of yourself, start being aware of your actions, how you act, what you desire, why you desire it. Start doing self work, okay? Soul work is what I call it. I have a whole course dedicated to soul work, how to work on yourself, how to basically watch yourself behind, you know, like watch yourself from your higher self, to get out of a state of ego, shadow work, all that shit. Ooh, sorry. But yeah, anyway, so we're gonna move on. But you don't need my course to do this. You can do this on your own, right? My course is just to learn more about it, learn different techniques, all that, but anybody can do this on their own. So anyway, so let's move on. Ooh, you have Mnemosyne. I am probably butchering that, and I feel so bad because that is such a beautiful name. I wish I could pronounce it. Mnemosyne, that's what I'm pronouncing it as. And it says the past, okay? Wow. Wow, I'm getting so much energy off this card. Okay. So, like I was saying, you guys have a mission. You guys have a mission. Like, you are here to cross thresholds, okay? You guys are here to cross thresholds. Oh gosh, I'm getting so much. Okay. Woo. Okay, so definitely some Egyptian vibes, African American vibes. That does not mean, okay, that does not mean that has to be where you're at today, or who you are today, or your culture today. I'm just saying the past, okay, in another time frame, in another dimension. Okay, and you may be very familiar with dimensions, okay? I feel like some of you guys have gotten in an accident. You've gotten in an accident where, I know I'm getting specific here, but you've gotten in an accident for some of you guys where you almost crossed the threshold. Okay, you've had some weird experiences. I really feel that for you. So yeah, some of you guys have gotten into an accident, and you're familiar with life beyond death in some sense or another. But something's happened to you in the past where you were basically aware of this threshold. You were aware of different timelines of you. I hope I'm making sense right now. But basically, you are able to, with her here, this beautiful woman here that I wish I could say her name, you are able to almost like see into the past. Like, it's weird, and it's so weird because the Knight of Wands is going that way, the Mouse is going that way. It's like a sense of going back, okay? And I'm still trying to kind of figure out what it all means, but I feel like it has something to do with a mission, a purpose. So maybe like karma, or something that happened in a past life that you are here in this lifetime to correct in some way. I'm not sure. So let's go ahead and see what your next card is. Oh my gosh. So we have White Buffalo Calf Woman, Reverence. Oh yeah, okay. You guys have a lot of roots. You guys have a lot of roots in many different places. You guys are definitely spiritual warriors, and I don't say that lightly. I'm not saying light warriors or light workers. Like, that's not what I mean. Spiritual warriors understand duality, okay? They don't get lost in duality, but they also understand that things must be shaken up, okay? They understand that the heat must get turned on. They're not scared to turn the heat on. They're not nurturing. This is not water energy. This is fire, okay? They are not scared to turn the heat on your ass and like turn it up. You know what I mean? So don't get them confused. Like it's in order to bring a new time, a new paradigm in, okay? So that's kind of what I'm getting from this. Okay, so the White Buffalo Calf Woman is a Lakota goddess, and she is all about what I was just talking about with good, bad, right, and wrong, and leaving it all aside and learning how to take your mistakes or the things that you have suppressed within yourself, okay? Your supposed weaknesses, right? And making them your strengths and turning them into your strengths. That is what the White Buffalo Calf Woman talks about. So there's definitely a huge mission that you guys have here, huge spiritual mission. I really feel like you guys are going to be some kind of spiritual warrior. Like, that's just the best way I can explain it. And also possibly even like a shaman or medicine man or woman, or something to do with hoodoo, something along those lines. So let's go ahead. There's just so much energy. I'm sorry, but let's go ahead and move on to the next card. Okay, so you guys have lunar eclipse change, and you have Mercury mind. Okay, so you guys are here to bring change. Like I've been saying, you guys are here to shake things up. You guys are here to push people past their thresholds. You guys are here to push the world past its threshold, but at the same time be on the edge of yours, right? With yourself, with your own self-development. And that's why you have this King of Wands, but you also have the Knight of Wands, right? And with Mnemosyne here, you are able to, you have this like notion of the past. You have this like remembrance of the past. You've seen the pattern that goes around and round and round and round, and it's time for change. It's time to shake things up. It's time to change those patterns, okay? And that is definitely what you guys are here to do in this lifetime, which is just freaking badass. So anyways, and then we have Mercury mind, and you know, I feel like, you know, with this, you guys are here to really expand people's minds, to change people's minds. Also with Mercury mind, I feel like this is also saying, you know, once again, to try to focus your energy, to try to somehow bring your energy and your mind into alignment, and so you can focus and channel all of this energy that you have, okay? So that is what I'm getting for you guys, pile number one. This was a super long one, so anyways, let me know down below if you guys related to this, and we're gonna move on to pile number two. What's going on? Pile number two, this is for those of you that picked the second pile. So let's go ahead and get into it and see what and who you are. What and who you are. What? Let's go ahead and get into it and see who the hell you are, okay? So, ooh, okay, so the first card you have is the Knight of Cups upright with Judgment upright. Ooh. Honestly, what I'm getting here is like, it sounds like really crazy, but what I'm getting here is like this angelic quality. Seriously, like that's what I'm getting. It's almost like an angelic quality. So super creative. I mean, you guys are like visionaries for days, okay? You guys literally are just super, super creative, probably super romantic. The creative visions that you guys have are insane, like legit insane. So with this though, because you're so sensitive, because you are you're easily awakened with judgment here. It's like easy for you to reconcile things. It's easy for you to understand the whole bigger picture of things. But here's some of the downside to this, is that sometimes you can be over judgmental, or you could possibly judge others before, or judge situations before really getting to know them, or really getting to understand them and to see what they're about. So you may want to watch out for that. But basically with the Knight of Cups here, you're very sensual, very romantic, very dreamy, very creative, all of that. And with judgment on your side as well, it's very easy for you to reconcile the past with the present. But you're also like a huge visionary. But sometimes you may think, because you can see so far out, more far out than usual, than other people, sometimes you can place yourself on a pedestal. So you need to be careful with that, okay? You have this gift of like sight, of like vision. So you guys may be super clairvoyant. You may be super connected to source, or feel like you have a very strong connection to source at times. Let's go ahead and move on so we can get a little bit more to the story here. Okay, so you guys have the Seven of Swords and the Two of Swords. So because you guys are such visionaries, it can be hard for you guys sometimes to make decisions. You guys may be a bit of a perfectionist. You want the finished thing to turn out exactly how you see it, and you're like exactly how you see it, you know? But here's the thing. With the Seven of Swords here, and the Two of Swords, this can be, it can be somewhat hard for you, because you see things that maybe other people don't, or you can see how things are going to play out even though other people can't. And so it can put you in a weird situation where you're not exactly sure what to do about it, or you feel powerless sometimes because you don't know how to get around the situation, because you're like, I know this is going to happen, but I don't know what to do about it, if that makes sense. Like, I can see how this is playing out, but I don't know what to do about it. I can't prevent it, or can I prevent it? And it puts you in a situation where you feel like your hands are tied. I also feel like you guys are here to wake people up. You guys may be here to, you know, speak truths, right? But you guys may be even very indecisive at times, because you feel like, you know, you have to make the right decision. Like I was saying before, like with this chess piece and the Seven of Swords card, it's like, you know, it all has to add up to be exactly how you envision it, if that makes sense. Hopefully this is making sense. Like, it's really hard for me to communicate what I'm getting with this. So, but we're gonna move on. You guys have the buffalo, and we have the gazelle. So I'm still learning this animal oracle deck, and I wanted to read you what it says for the buffalo, because I feel like it's explaining it better than I was, but it goes with everything I was just kind of saying. But it says, grounded yet heavenly, practical yet spiritual. The hooves of the mighty buffalo are grounded in the earth, yet its heart and mind rise towards heaven. The buffalo sees challenge, hardship, or a bump in the road as an opportunity for upliftment. Therefore, the buffalo does not fear death, illness, or misfortune. Its gentle eyes look to the road ahead, trusting every turn. May we all experience this elusive yet life-changing bliss from time to time, and may we allow this card to remind us that life is a precious gift. So its keywords are trusting, pure presence. When it's out of balance, it can be restless, lacks gratitude. It brings you into balance to pray or do some kind of bhakti yoga. So I think that's very interesting, because I am getting with judgment here, I am getting a very like heavenly sense. And I'm not your Christianity or Catholic kind of gal here, but that's kind of what I'm getting. It's like, so you guys may believe that there's a heaven, or, you know, that basically, or at least that there's angels or something, because there's a really angelic kind of feeling to this. And this is, I feel like the buffalo is like the true you. You see why things have to happen the way they are, but it's also somewhat of a curse, because you're like, how do I move in this? And I know this one's kind of specific, so if you're not resonating, then, you know, you may resonate with another pile more, but this is someone that I really do feel like is a seer, is clairvoyant, like that has visions. And even if you don't, or even if you used to and you don't anymore, then this could still be talking to you, because this is really like who you are underneath it all. Okay, so just try to keep that in mind. But, you know, if you're feeling indecisive, or if you can't make decisions, because I even look at this Seven of Swords, which is normally the thief in the night, but I'm looking at this more as like, you know, decisions, like indecisiveness, like they're mirroring each other, right? And that's another thing. You guys may be like a mirror to other people. You may somehow show people exactly who they are in some kind of way. Like people meet you and somehow in you they see themselves, if that makes sense. It's really weird. And maybe you've always wondered, like, I don't know if that makes sense to you. Let me know down below if that makes sense to you. But I mean, everybody is mirrors of ourselves in a way anyway, but you may be particular, like really have the ability to show people the truth in some way, okay? Whether about themselves or whatever the case may be. So moving on to the gazelle. So the gazelles are very creative visionaries. So once again, like I was saying before, very creative, a visionary, all of that, very graceful, you know, all the keywords that go into being an angel child, I guess, right? Like, but yeah, and having just a really heightened awareness, really heightened abilities, and that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Being very vigilant of your surroundings and knowing, but see, that's like, it's kind of like a blessing and a curse to you, because it's like, I know, but I can't decide, you know what I mean? I can't, how do I get around it, right? So you guys may have shut some of this off, some of you guys, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's really important with the gazelle to, you know, center yourself, to really center yourself, to let the beauty of life nourish you, because you are gentle. You know, you're gentle, but at the same time grounded, but at the same time a visionary. And so this can make for a lot of kind of confusing energy, I feel, for you guys, where you may try to shut things off from time to time because you're like, this is too much. I don't want to know all the time, right? The next card you guys have is the gem and the mirror. I cannot make it up, you guys. Wow. So the gem is about, it's different. It's not like a diamond. It stands out from its environment, right? It's about authenticity. It's about, you know, being true to who you are. And so you guys, I feel like, definitely know that you're special in some ways, that you have, and I say that lightly, you know what I mean? Because we're all special, right? That sounded so fake, I'm sorry. But seriously though, we all have our own special, unique gifts, right? But what I'm saying here is that basically you guys may know it, right? But sometimes it can be a blessing and a curse, because sometimes you feel like you know what's best for other people, or you know how it's all gonna play out, and so it can put you in tough situations, right? You can be very indecisive. You always want to make sure that you're trying to like use your best judgment. You can be too hyper vigilant, too hyper aware. And so with the mirror here, not only can you be a mirror for other people, yes, you can help them find their authentic beauty. You can help them find their truth, their connection to themselves within, but also you need to make sure that you are looking in the mirror as well, that you are not projecting any of your issues onto other people, okay? That you are not projecting any of your judgments onto other people. So that's the flip side to this that you need to remember from time to time. Because yes, you know, you do have an infinite source of answers sometimes. You know what I mean? It's like, you know in your body, like, what is going on or what's going to happen. And it's about using that gift and taking that gift and coming across with it in a way that's respectful. And I feel like you guys do try to be respectful. I'm not saying you guys are like egotistical assholes, like, right? I mean, we all are in our own way, in our own sense, some a little bit more than others, but I'm just saying, just watch out sometimes. It's important. And I feel like you guys are already on high alert, you know what I mean? But not watching out for other people, watch out for yourself sometimes, okay? Just remember that. And that could be good or bad, positive or negative, however you want to put it, right? So let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so the next card you guys have is Mama Kosha. And you have Shakti, Transformation. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. So with Mama Kosha, what I'm getting with her is that she is the element of water. She's number 33. So this is really about expressing emotion. Okay, this is really about, you guys are super empathetic. You guys are probably very empathic. Okay, emotions run high for you. You can really feel things. And the thing with water is it gives life, right? It is like the mother. It's ruled by the moon, right? The moon controls the tides. And you know, when we're babies in the womb, we're in water, right? And so that's what she's all about. And so what I feel for you guys with this is that you guys are very, very creative, sensitive people, okay? Very sensual, like I was saying before. But the thing about water is it comes in so many different forms, and also it doesn't neglect, right? Like when it rains, it doesn't choose just like, I'm gonna rain on this plant and not this plant, right? When it flows into the cracks, it doesn't say, you know, these cracks are ugly, I'm gonna flow in these, right? And so what I think this is saying for you guys, pile number 2, is that sometimes you can be, with judgment here, you can either be too non-judgmental, right? Or you can be too judgmental. And so because it's like you see, right? It's like you see, because you have this clairvoyance, which, like I said, can sometimes be a blessing or a curse, depending on how you look at it. So it's really important that you are ebbing and flowing, that you embrace the ebbs and flows, and that you work with the balance of water, okay? That you try not to be judging the cracks in which the water falls in too harshly, and that you also make sure that you are correct in your judge of characters, right? In your judgment of characters. So with Shakti, transformation, it can be really about, once again, the ebbs and flows of life, the changes that we all go through, and seeing the need for change, seeing the need for transformation. She is like the Hindu goddess. She's the creation, the life force energy. She's about doing things differently, doing things authentically to who you are, and embracing change rather than fearing it. And yes, sometimes you can see the need for change, but other times you may be in a spot where you can't. Kind of like I was saying before with Mama Kosha, like really embracing the ebbs and flows of life. And so it's important to find that balance. Your next card is Uranus, Genius, and Chiron, Healing. Sorry, it was starting to get dark. I needed to turn my ring light on. So With Uranus Genius, Uranus is about living authentic. Why can't I say this word? It is about living authentically to who you are. It is about being the rebel, okay? So stop fearing confrontation. Stop fearing making the wrong decision. You know, you can only learn by going through the transformations, right? You can only learn by going through things, right? And that's where the healing of Chiron begins, right? And so, but I definitely feel like you guys are a healer, and you guys will heal people with your words, with your wisdom, and with somehow stripping the veil for people so they can see the truth. So people may come to you a lot when they feel like they are struggling with their past, or they feel like they are not aligned, or they feel like they're not in alignment with their purpose. You are definitely here to shake things up a little bit and not be so in this safe zone. And you are here to help other people heal, but also help yourself heal. You are the mirror for them, right? You are the mirror for them. And whether you see that you're the gem or not, you are. And you definitely have a lot to offer people. So it's just really understanding that you have the power to mirror things back to people that they may not even recognize within themselves sometimes. And so you may have always wondered, like, what did I do? Or why is that person, you know, so weirded out around me or whatever? And it's because somehow, some way, you show them who they really are underneath it all. And yeah, you're very empathetic. You really do want to help people, but I feel like you're someone that struggles with what you see, right? With what you see and what you know. Because you have the Judgment card as your personality type, I mean, that tells me that you are somebody that honestly can make those presumptions, right? Like, you can make those judgments, but at the same time, it's like I can see how it's causing conflict in someone with your path, right? So anyways, let me know down below if this resonated with you. If not, you are free to pick another pile. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe. It really helps me out, especially around this nice little apocalypse we're going through. So yeah, I love you guys, and we're gonna move on to pile number 3. What is going on, pile number 3? This is for those of you that picked the 3rd pile. So let's go ahead and see who you really are. Ooh la la, the first card you guys have is the Wheel of Fortune and the King of Wands. Well, aren't you guys just lucky? So if you pick this pile, you might actually hear that a lot. You may actually hear a lot like, oh, you're so lucky, or you get away with everything. But at the same time, I don't know, your life may just seem very fated, okay? Very fated. Like, you can't control it almost, okay? Your life may seem very uncontrollable, like constantly just up and down, up and down, up and down. And you may feel like you've somewhat mastered yourself, like mastered who you are as a person, but when it comes down to it, it's like always changing. So this could definitely be 2 different parts of you, or just you as a whole. But there's definitely a lot of chance with you. There's not a very, how do I want to put this? You're not very committed for very long, okay, to something. You have to change it up. Like, you always have to have some kind of change in your life. You don't like things to be consistent for too long, okay? You may be very good at games of chance or any kind of gambling, anything like that. And you may have some strong beliefs of, like, not really settling down in situations because your life has just always been up and down, up and down, up and down, inconsistent. You know, there's like an inconsistency with the wheel here. Nothing is ever certain. Nothing is ever set in stone. And I feel like that's kind of how you live your life. It's almost like you live on the edge. So you may be a little bit of like an adrenaline junkie, or somebody that is very into like exploring, taking risk, okay? Taking big risk. And other people may have trouble pinning you down. But that's kind of like how you want it, I feel. Your next card is the Four of Wands and the Nine of Swords. So yeah, this can cause some stress for you, I feel. Because with the Four of Wands, this is like almost like a marker, or like a, God, I can't think of the word. Like an anniversary of something, or like a marker, or like a something to like mark, you know, an achievement of something. But at the same time, it's like things are just so inconsistent. And so because of this instability, you could really suffer with some mental health problems or anxiety, depression, just really feeling like not in control, right? And for some of you, this could even go the opposite way, where you like really try to control life, right? And it drives you nuts because everything keeps showing you why you're not in control. You know what I mean? The next card you guys have is the Fox, and we have the Raccoon. So what's interesting is both of these cards are Earth, and both of these cards deal with identity and kind of being in the shadows or sneaking. It's really interesting. Which kind of goes with what I was saying before about the King of Wands. It's like you get to a point where you're kind of sure of who you are, but at the same time, you're not. There's like this constant change. And you may feel at times like you have to somewhat hide who you are, or like you can't be yourself all the way because things are just going to shift again, right? With the Fox here, it's like you want to commit. You don't mind to be monogamous, right? Like you don't mind to be faithful and to be loyal, but at the same time, when you're out of balance with this Wheel of Fortune energy, it can cause you to sly away because of not being sure who you are deep down, or feeling like you have a reason to not be sure who you are. And I do really feel with the Fox here that you guys are going to probably make a really great teacher one day. But it's really about pinning down who you are and not trying to cover it up or wear a mask, because with the Raccoon here, like you're definitely very talented. And also with the King of Wands and the Animal cards both, like this can sometimes make you very competitive as well, because sometimes you get to this point where you're like, oh, well, luck is already on my side anyway, or screw it, right? You can sometimes have this careless way about you, I feel. If you picked this pile and you're resonating with it, your next card is the Orphan and the Siren. You guys definitely don't like to be controlled, okay? And the instability could come from somewhere in your life, possibly in your childhood, where you felt like you were abandoned in some way, or you felt like things were dark in some way and unstable. And so you've kind of carried that with you into your identity of being unstable, of not knowing who you are, where you come from, or why things happen the way that they did. It's almost like you guys don't let people get too close to you, or let people get to know who you really are. So the Siren is also about temptation. Okay, so some of you guys may have like an addictive personality, and it can also be somewhat of like a femme fatale, but even if whether you're a man or a woman, or like the temptress, the seducer, but either way, there's definitely like an awakened sensuality to you, but you don't like to commit to things, okay? Because the unbalanced version of the Siren can be, you know, betrayal, wreckage, instability, things of that nature. But you guys are with the Siren there and the Orphan because of the darkness that you've encountered. You don't like rules, right? You don't like rules or regulations because of something that happened in your childhood likely, but also you're able to explore areas that other people are afraid to go. You are probably very into things that are taboo, things that are different, things that are not necessarily, like things that other people aren't necessarily into, which is really cool. You guys are able to take risk and do things that other people may not want to do. Next card you have is Lazy, Revelation. Then we have Nyx, Secrets. I love where like all the pink energy in this pile as well. This is interesting. So with Lazy, I'm sorry, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but she's a Chinese goddess and she's the goddess of lightning. So, and this also reminds me of Kali, the Hindu goddess, Kundalini. But basically, you guys are probably very attractive. You guys are probably very mysterious, and your life has probably always been like basically all in or not at all. You know what I mean? Like going all in or nothing at all, like all or nothing kind of people, right? Not really settling for anything boring, or because your whole life has been somewhat theatrical. It's been like lightning bolts, like boom, comes in, things are crazy, and then it goes away. You know what I mean? So you've adapted this to your personality because you felt like, okay, well, if my life's uncontrollable, then I want to be uncontrollable, right? Like, then I'm going to be uncontrollable. And you've had to kind of adapt to that. Also with Nyx here, Secrets, you know, that goes with that raccoon and siren energy of like not necessarily being comfortable showing who you really are. Okay, being a little bit more reserved, being a little bit more secretive, being a little bit more mysterious. But also it's about getting honest with yourself and your secrets. You're probably someone that doesn't waste too much time on details or knowing the details of things. So, but with Nyx here, it definitely, and Nyx is like the goddess of night, okay? And so that really goes with everything that we've been talking about. You guys there's a darkness to you, and there's a darkness to everyone. So, and darkness does not mean bad, okay? So don't get that in your mind. I lean more darker than I do light. And another way you can find this is if you have a night chart, and a night chart is basically where your sun, where sometimes both your luminaries, your sun and your moon, are below the horizon. Okay, so if your sun is below the horizon, below the ascendant and the descendant on your chart, then you are a night chart, which makes you a little bit more apt to coming alive in the nighttime, or being a little bit more darker at times, leaning a little bit more darker. And so anyways, you've kind of adapted to that, and that's kind of what I'm getting here. So next card you have is Cancer, I Feel, and then the fire element of desire. Okay, so yeah, you guys are probably very sensual, very comfortable with your sexuality, your desire. And if you're not comfortable with your sexuality, that is something I would definitely look into for you, because there's a lot of sexual energy coming up in this reading, a lot of taboo energy, a lot of mysterious energy. And this reading has been a little bit more harder than the other readings for me to read because of that reason. And so with Cancer, I feel like you guys are very passionate, deeply passionate people, very deeply intimate people, okay? You may possibly be a Cancer or a Scorpio. You could also have something in fire, and the fire element here, but really the signs don't matter, but you feel desire. Like you guys are someone that really, really feels desire and passion on a very deep level. Like I can feel it. It's like almost like a bloodthirst. Okay, so, and sometimes it can be insatiable. Okay, with the siren there. So, and that's where this 9 of Swords can come in, because it can drive you crazy. So it's really, really important to be able to look through your darkness, be able to face your darkness, and find a balance, you know, with everything that we were talking about. So anyways, that is what I am getting for you guys. Pile number 3, definitely let me know down below if this resonated. And we are going to move on to pile number 4. What is going on? Pile number 4. This is for those of you that picked the 4th pile. So let's go ahead and see who you are. Okay, so the first card you guys have is the Hanged Man. The next card you have is the Queen of Wands. Okay, so this is funny. So the Queen of Wands is very passionate, very direct, very focused, okay, very confident. You can just look at her. She exudes confidence, okay? She does not bother herself with anything that is not going to, anything that it gets into her way of success. She's not going to bother herself with anything that is not going to get her to the top, to her crown, okay? She is a badass bitch, okay? But for you guys, you have the Hanged Man as well. Okay, so this is a little bit of a dragger because you're constantly weighing things out. You feel like you constantly, like you're the queen, but yet you have to surrender, or you have to take the time to look at new perspectives, or you have to take the time to basically kill your ego and shit. You know what I mean? You have to take the time to basically dial it down, even though you're the queen. But this is part of you. Like, this is part of you. You're not meant to be someone very egotistical or very ego-driven. Like, you're very confident, you're very passionate, you're probably very attractive, yes, but there is a time and a place for it, and you are the people that know that if you picked this pile and if you are going to relate to this pile. You are a little bit more humble. You're a little bit more of a humbled down version of the Queen of Wands, which can sometimes make people think that they can step all over you, or they can, you know what I mean, basically push you over. And that's not who you are. And so, you know, it can sometimes provoke you to bring the egotistical side out, right? Or to get angry, etc. And you're like, yo, I'm the queen. You know what I mean? But sometimes you get treated like the Hanged Man and you're like, what the hell? Next card you guys have is the 4 of Swords, and then Strength. Wow, okay. So you are not here to live a average Queen of Wands kind of life, even though you are the Queen of Wands. At the same time, you're the Hanged Man though. You're not here to live a average Queen of Wands type of life. You are here to endure some difficulty. You are here to not only, you are here to go through some challenges. You are here to find your inner strength. Okay? And once you find your inner strength, it will exude to your outward appearance, to your outward world. It will come through you into the outer world. But you have to find the inner strength first. You have to be willing to sometimes see a different perspective. And you normally are. You normally are. But you're definitely here to, with the 4 of Swords here, even right under the Hanged Man, it's like there's this part of you that feels like you have to bow down or you have to surrender. And then there's this other part of you that's like, fuck that. Like, I'm the lion, right? I'm the Queen of Wands. You surrender to me. And so it can be really confusing for you, I feel like. Pile number 4, let me know if this is resonating so far. If not, then this may not be the pile for you. But there's a lot of ego checking. And I feel like you know, because you probably like, you get into these spaces, these like experiences or these situations where, you know, things go really shitty and you're like, wow, like people have no respect for me, or like what the hell is going on? And you get into these situations and then you have to take it down a notch, right? You have to take it down a notch. You have to like wait it out. You have to surrender. You have to rest. You have to give yourself time and space. And you're like, why can't I just like run some shit 24/7. Why do I always gotta go through? You know what I mean? But you have this part of you that is not a Queen of Wands. You have this part of you that is willing to relate to other people. That is willing to not necessarily like rule over other people, if that makes sense. It can create some issues for you probably feel like in your life, because you feel like not necessarily that you're better than, but that you're here to sit on a throne in some way. So I guess in a way better than. Just kind of sounded bad, you know, but you feel like there's kind of this sense of like confidence, like knowing your worth, but at the same time not, you know what I mean? And so it can be very confusing for you. So let's go ahead and see what other cards you guys have. Ooh, the owl. Oh my God. I think this was the pile. I literally saw an owl for one of the piles while I was shuffling. I think it might have been this one. Crap, I don't remember. But anyways, that's weird. So, and then we have the bee. Queen bee. It's so funny because it's like you're the queen, but you're also the convict. Sorry, I just think that's funny. Yeah, there's like a part of you that is, it's like, that's like how I would describe this, the queen and the convict. But at the same time with the owl here, you know, you guys could see owls a lot, or even bees, or you guys could really relate to these animals. But with the owl here, this is telling me that this Hanged Man and this Four of Swords, this half of you that is like constantly weighing things out or wanting to see things from a different perspective. So basically this part of you that's slowing you down, or that you feel is slowing you down, because you're always feeling stuck or held back, or, you know, like, God, why can't I just like get my freaking crown and sit on my throne, whatever the case may be. This is happening to make you wiser. This is happening so you can see things from all angles. The owl is the watcher. The Hanged Man watches from a noose perspective. The Four of Swords slows you down. And that's where wisdom comes from. And the bee is about creativity. So you guys are probably definitely very, very, very creative. You guys are probably very great workers, especially when it's something that you're passionate about. You guys are probably very busy a lot. But at the same time, you find that you need a lot of like breaks. You need a lot of space and breaks and like ego check moments, right? Moments that make you feel like you're no one. And they can really suck sometimes. But you have a lot of creative talent, a lot of creative skill, and that's the thing. You know, when you can get your ego in check and learn true confidence, true strength through inner reliance instead of outer reliance, that is when you will totally come into your own. You know what I mean? And I really feel like that's what this is teaching you. Like, that's what life is likely teaching you. You know, there's a part of you that feels like I should be running shit, but then there's this other part of you that's like, that relates, I feel like, for whatever reason, that like relates to people, because the Hanged Man has been sentenced, right? So it's like a convict. That's why I was saying the queen and the convict. Like, so you're not all like, oh, I'm better than you. You know what I mean? Like, you get it. You get other people's perspectives, and this is going to give you wisdom. These moments are giving you wisdom. These experiences are giving you wisdom. Like, yeah, they're slowing you down. Yeah, they are making you see things from a new side, but they are also giving you wisdom. Ooh, your next card is the Shaman and the Healer. Well, there you go. That's why. That is why. Okay, so that's why you are having all these experiences of ego checking, like being knocked down a few notches. You know what I mean? Having to surrender to things you can't control, having to surrender to things that really, really make you angry, or that you really feel like get into your way. It seems like it's harder for you than other people. You've probably always thought, like, why is it harder for me than other people? Like, it seems like everybody else just was able to do this, whatever this is, so easy, and it's so hard for me. You know what I mean? So with the shaman here and the healer, you guys are definitely here to lose the ego. You guys are definitely here to do some kind of healing, to do some kind of healing. There's not really another word for it, but you guys are definitely here to help people, to heal people in some way, shape, or form. And no, it may not necessarily be through being a shaman, like a straight up shaman, or it could be. I mean, it really depends. So yeah, but a shaman takes time. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of self-evaluation. So it's about being very self-aware, and that's what I feel like is happening with you. Like, you are someone that has to be very self-aware. It's like it forces it out of you. And a shaman isn't just like an indigenous person. Like, yeah, that's where it normally comes from, right? Like indigenous healers, indigenous medicine men and women. But, you know, in the modern world, it could be a doctor, a teacher, a counselor. And you guys have abilities to do all of these different things because you have these two cards, and also these two cards, and also all of these cards. You guys are great therapists. You guys would give great advice. But a shaman also knows how to work with alchemy. It knows how to reach into other worlds and ancient civilizations and ancient cultures. And so it's also about learning alchemy. And I feel another big thing I feel here, for whatever reason, with the Bee and the Queen of Wands, is that you may have had a life where at some point you may have been very, very cared for. And then at another point, maybe you have had to learn how to fend for yourself, okay? And this is another kind of reason that I feel that happened to you here. So let's move on to your next card. Spider Woman, co-creation of Uzum humor. So if you guys don't have a mentor and you're into all of this, if this is really heavily resonating with you, you need a mentor, okay? You need a mentor to guide you, because that's what a shaman, that's the shaman's path, right? So definitely make sure that you are possibly getting a mentor. Also, with Spider Woman co-creation here, I really think that you guys are definitely here to create, okay? Like I said with the Bee, there's a lot of creative energy here. You guys are definitely here to create something. And what I'm getting with Uzum humor is that it's really important, and you guys may be very humorous people, you guys may be very sarcastic people, you guys may have like a really good way of making people laugh, okay, of like making people not take themselves too seriously. You guys probably don't like super serious situations, and you may laugh it off with humor, but that's just like part of your personality, and it really helps you. And Spider Woman is about weaving webs, right? That's why it's co-creation. So once again, being able to reach into different worlds, different times, right? And being able to like gain instant wisdom and being able to create something with it. Moving on to your last three cards, you guys actually had three that fell out. So we have the Moon, Soul. We also have North Node, Life's Purpose. And we have the Air Element, Communication. So like I was saying, you guys are definitely here to help other people, to help heal with the moon here. North Node, life's purpose. Yep. You guys are here to create something big, okay? You guys are here to help a lot of people. I feel that. And with the moon, the soul. Like I was saying, you guys would make amazing therapists, amazing healers, just shamans. You know what I mean? Like people, they feel like they can trust you. Okay? So don't get too down on yourself. You know, like, yeah, you need breaks, you need times where your ego gets checked, and it sucks sometimes. I get it. I'm the same way, honestly. Like, I'm the same way, so I get it. But it's really important. With the air element here coming up, this tells me that it's really important for you to be able to talk about things, to communicate how you really feel, to really communicate your truth. Also, you're a very mental person. You can possibly get too in your head sometimes. So it's important to balance that out with taking action towards something that makes you feel purposeful, for directing all that energy, right, with the bee, instead of just buzzing around everywhere, directing all of it to your hive, your purpose, what you're passionate about, being a healer, a shaman, whatever. So that is what I'm getting for you guys, pile number 4. Let me know down below if that resonated with you guys, and we're gonna move on to pile number 5. What is going on, pile number 5? This is for those of you that picked the 5th pile. So I will say right off the bat, you guys had a lot more cards fall out than any of the other piles. Like almost every deck that I drew from, well, at least 3 out of 6 of the decks that I used for this came out with extra cards. So we're gonna embrace it. So let's go ahead and see who the hell you guys are. First card we have is the Queen of Cups. The second card we have is Strength. Interesting. Okay, so right off the bat, you guys are very, very sensual people. Also, for whatever reason, with the Strength card, I'm really getting that you guys may be very, very tapped in with animals. Like, animals may just feel really comfortable around you, or they may be very drawn to you. Also, I feel like you guys have been through a lot, okay? And deep down, you are somebody that knows their worth and does not need anybody else to tell them what they're worth. You don't need me to tell you what you're worth. You don't need anyone else. So if that's not you right now, then either it could be because you're in fear mode, or this could just not be your pile. But this, who I'm reading for right now, is somebody that has such a strong amount of inner strength, because they've been put here to undergo very deep emotional changes and transformations. So the strength that lies within them is like super powerful, super potent. I mean, people probably like feel it exuding off of you, even if you're somebody that's emotional. And you know, because we do have the Queen of Cups here, so you are emotional, right? Even if you're somebody that's like emotional and very empathic and sensitive, there's still this like quiet but very dominant like amount of power that you have, this amount of inner strength that you have, this amount of endurance that you have, that just draws people into your energy. Okay, so yeah, you may be emotional and empathic and sensitive to what you feel, but you're not the type of person that's going to like constantly be crying over spilled milk either. Like, because you've been through shit. Like, you've been through some shit. Okay, so you are here to master your emotions. You are here to tame your emotions. And the real you knows how to do that, okay? The real you knows how to do that. So let's go ahead and see what your next cards have to say. Okay, so we have the Star, we have the Four of Pentacles, we have the Queen of Swords, Yeah, y'all are some bad bitches, okay? Or dudes, if you're a dude and you pick this pile, but whew. Okay, so what I'm getting here is somebody that, like I said, has been through a lot, has had to endure a lot, or will have to, but you have hope with the star here. It's like you have hope. It's almost like you have this inner knowing that no matter whatever you endure, no matter what you have to go through, you never let go of hope. With the Four of Pentacles there, you never let go of hope. With the Queen of Swords here, you're very decisive as well. You're very discerning. You can discern, you know, what's real and what's not. You're very in tune with your feminine, but also your masculine energy. And you know how to protect yourself. I'm really getting that here as well. Like, you know how to protect yourself. Also, I also feel like you guys, the kind of downside to this is that you guys may be a little bit too overprotective. You guys may be a little bit too overprotective of your emotions, okay? Because of the things that you've had to endure, the things that you've had to go through. But you definitely are someone that is here to build up an emotional tolerance and emotional strength, okay? Like, you're very courageous. You're very, you know how to be both feminine and nurturing and mothering, but also very dominant at the same time. You very, very much so stand for like individuality and being oneself. You also demand attention when you walk into a room with your energy. And it's not that you're sitting here like, look at me, look at me. Like, no, like you walk into a room and people are like, boom. You know, like you demand things with your energy, whether you realize that or not. So people may be very jealous of you your whole life, or people may have like not really, you may have like scared people in a sense, or maybe like resting bitch face kind of thing. Like, not that you're trying to, it's just you have this extreme dominance about yourself, this extreme like demanding energy about you. Okay, so the next card you guys have is the Elk and the Fire Ant. Okay, so you guys are someone that I feel may have some daddy issues, okay? I'm just gonna put that out there. No offense, I do too, so I'm not judging you. But you guys definitely may have some daddy issues, because we have the Elk here, which can sometimes be associated with the father, and then also strength, which can sometimes be associated with Leo energy, and the sun rules Leo. Yeah, you guys may have had to somewhat be self-reliant from a young age, okay? Even if your parents were around, maybe this just means, you know, you had to watch after yourself a lot, or, you know, your dad was just very strict, or maybe he wasn't in the picture, so you had to help your mom with siblings or with whatever, okay? So this can mean a multitude of different things, okay? So just take it where it resonates. But the Elk is very supportive. It is very kind, and I feel like that's what you've had to do since a young age. You've had to be supportive in some way, because the father, right? It's associated with the father, or maybe your father, maybe you were just daddy's little girl, maybe you were just very close to your father. But the Elk is very stable, resilient, and headstrong, right? And so it's, you know, it's really knowing your core values, really knowing what you stand for. And that's what you can see here in the Strength card as well. But sometimes with the Elk, the ego can become a little too inflated, okay? So it's really important to find the balance. It's also really important with the Elk to be in good health, okay? So make sure that you're working out, make sure that you're exercising, and you're eating and drinking in a more conscious way, okay? So I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your health life, like, too much, because I am no angel over here. So, okay, so the Fire Ant is about aggression. It is about, you know, basically doing what everybody else is doing, following orders. It can sometimes be about gossip and just old rigid ways of thinking, and it can be about discipline as well. So it's really important for you to have time to yourself. If you're around other people too much, these like tendencies can come out with you, okay? It's really important to find a balance between being in the world and being yourself. Like I said, individuality is important to you because maybe at some point you felt like you had to follow orders, or you had to like fit in some way, shape, or form, or you had to be super disciplined or do what everybody else was doing. And so it's really, really important for you to be able to stand in your core values and not get into like a way of rigid thinking, or, you know, just following orders or doing what everybody else is doing, basically. We have the eternal child and we have the mystic. Okay, so the eternal child is all about being very in touch with your childhood self. Okay, so you may still be very rebellious, or you know, the things that there's a lot of things that maybe you did when you were a child that you still do, and if not, it's very crucial that you do them. It's very crucial that you let your inner child out. But there is a very playful side to you. It's not always so serious with the elk here. There is still like a very playful side to you, especially with the eternal child and the mystic. Like I said, you're not someone that likes to stay doing what everybody else is doing. And also with the mystic, you may not be someone that likes to stay in one place too long. Okay, it's not very good for you to stay in one place for too long. You're probably very into, you know, flowing with life and flowing with the mysteries of life and not fitting into the 3D world all the time. So I want to read you what the eternal child says in the book, because I think it's very interesting. It says, the inner child, the child of joy. The eternal child is connected to the timeless, ageless, and infinite aspects of life. It is radiant and fearless and seeks joy above all else at any cost. It struggles being bound to an aging body with physical limitations in a world that demands attention to detail and logistics. Bum, bum, bum. The eternal child wants to nix all rules and responsibilities and go beyond what others say is possible. It wants to return with plenty of friends to the land of the free, where divine wine and creativity pour from the earth and sky. We all want to sip from the well of eternal youth, and this makes the eternal child naturally popular, perhaps even famous. The eternal child glimmers. It reminds us of what is possible, what is magical about this precious life. This archetype is so spirited that when its appetite for life isn't satiated, it seeks spirits and substance elsewhere. The eternal child can struggle with addictions of all varieties. So that's very interesting, and that's what I'm picking up here as well with the Queen of Cups and strength. You guys may be people that even look very young for your age, or people have always told you look very young for your age, or mistaken you for being younger in some sense, even if it's just not your looks, even if it's like how you act or your energy, right? Plus with the mystic here, this makes you a huge daydreamer and just a huge visionary as well. And the mystic is all about working through the darkness. It's about, you know, really helping people understand their darkness, really helping people kind of lift the illusion that society may have put on them, okay? They're visionaries. And they can also be somewhat ageless. So I think this is really funny with age coming in here so much, because that really just goes with the strength card of like the inner child, and, you know, being somewhat rebellious and having courage and all of that. And so I think this all goes together very nicely so far. So, ooh, you have Kuan Yin, compassion. You also have Persephone, inexperience. Oh my gosh. And you have Epona, wise leadership. So, this is funny. I think that you guys are definitely here to be very wise leaders at some point in your life, but there is kind of, once again, with Persephone here, this inner child in you that does not like structure or rules or order. With the Queen of Swords here, you're like, I make my own decisions, I do my own thing, like, ain't no one telling me anything. But with Kuan Yin, compassion, you guys are also very compassionate people. You guys are very empathetic. You are able to put yourself in other people's shoes and other people's struggles and see it through their eyes, which makes you a wise leader at the same time. But with Persephone here, it's that I think you guys are going to have so much experience because of what you've been through, because I do feel like you guys are emotionally so strong. Like, you have the Queen of Cups and strength here as who you really are for a reason, because you're here to experience so much, which will make you a wise leader and also compassionate. But still, I think Persephone here is saying she's more relating to the eternal child and the mystic energy I feel for you here. Understanding both worlds, right? Because Persephone, goes with Hades to the underworld and becomes the queen of the underworld, but also gets to come back to Earth and spend time with her mom, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that child and then also the queen, and that's kind of what I'm getting here from you guys. It's like this energy of this constant visionary, this constant person that's like in this creative, imaginative state and this creative, imaginative, childlike wonder kind of state of being, but also a badass is kind of what I'm getting here. So you also have Black Moon Lilith mystery. Got the goddesses coming through for you guys. You have Jupiter abundance, 12th house escape. So you guys definitely have to be careful, pile number 5, because I do feel like you guys with escape and then what we were saying before, it definitely seems like there is possibly that candle just sparked, but it does seem like there's possibly some like escaping that you guys could be doing, okay? Like, because you have such an imaginative mind, and if you don't feel like you are, what am I trying to say here? If you don't feel like you're being helpful, or if you don't feel like you can be yourself, if you feel trapped or tamed, okay, if you feel like you have to fit in or be orderly in any way, it can lead to like you trying to escape through drugs, alcohol, or other addictions, okay? So you do want to be careful with that. And it is important for you to have a little bit of order in your life, not necessarily by or through anyone else, but through yourself. Learning how to be the foundation for yourself is going to help you as well, and going to help you with this 12th house escaping. Now, Black Moon Lilith mystery, once again, Lilith is the rebel, right? You guys may be a little bit mysterious, or Lilith is also all about independence. So you guys may be and I really do feel that for you guys are very, very independent. Jupiter is the guru. It is all about expansion, teaching, learning, experience. So you guys are definitely here to be some kind of leader, teacher, or something along those lines, mystic, through your experience. Experience is a huge, huge deal for you guys, and that is how you're going to grow and learn the most. So that is what I'm getting for you guys, pile number 5. Hopefully that resonated. Let me know down below if it did, and we are going to move on to pile number 6. What is going on, pile number 6? My last pile. So let's go ahead and get into it and see who the hell you really are. Okay, so the first card you guys have is the Queen of Pentacles. Next card you guys have is Temperance. Wow, okay, so you guys could be witches, alchemists, okay? You guys very, very earthy, very in touch with the earth, very in touch with elements and the elements of the earth, very in touch with your 5 senses, okay? The Queen of Pentacles is very earthy, okay? So this means you're very grounded, you're very stable, you like stability. You are a little bit more practical, a little bit more realistic, right? And if you're not relating to this, then this may not be your pile. But yeah, you're a little bit more grounded, you're a little bit more realistic, you're more practical. You focus a little bit more on earthly things, okay? What you can see, feel, touch, sense. but also you know that magic exists. And with temperance there, you're very good at taking something and turning it into something else. So you're very good at taking a situation, let's say, and you know, and like a bad situation, and finding the positive in it, okay? But also this makes you very great at alchemy. This makes you very great at, you know, witchcraft, okay? I'm really getting like, even if you don't practice it, if you're relating to this, then you're likely a witch and would probably really enjoy it. But you could also be very good at cooking, okay? Because you're so good at like mixing things together. You're very good at turning something into something else. You know how to moderate something. You know how to work with the elements in order to create, okay? So that is what I'm getting from you guys so far. You guys are probably also very good at mediating situations, balancing out situations. You instinctively know like what something or someone needs, like what they're missing, because you're so good at finding the missing piece and putting it together, okay? You guys are just natural alchemists. You guys are natural alchemists. Like, that's the best way to describe this. You're also very helpful. You're also very helpful. You like to help other people. You're generous, okay? Now, sometimes you can have a sense to rely too much on the 3D realm though here, so please keep that in mind. Sometimes you can be stubborn, or you can be a little too narrow-minded, or a little bit too caught up in the earthly realm. You know, insecurity, instability, fear of financial failure, fear of, you know, not having enough, things of that nature. So you do need to watch out for that. Oh, okay, so we also have the King of Pentacles, interesting, from a different deck too. And then we have Judgment. Okay. You guys are very good at putting things together. Like, you guys may be very good at like puzzles and things like that, but very good cooks, likely. Very good cooks. Okay, so the King of Pentacles here as well shows me that you are very in tune because of temperance, because of this natural balancing energy that's within you. You're very in tune with both your feminine and your masculine side. Okay, so you're not scared to buck up and be dominant, and you're not scared to also be nurturing, basically. Okay, you're very in touch with your masculine and feminine side, no matter what gender you are, if you picked this pile and you're relating to it. And then with Judgment here, once again, I mean, you have this knowing in you. You have this knowing in you, because if you look at this card, she's reaching her hands up over her head and making a heart. Judgment is about reconciliation of the past with the present. And that's what you're doing. Like, that's what temperance is kind of doing in a way. It's about alchemy, right? And so she's putting her hands together to make a heart. She's pouring, you know, moderating these two vases with water to create a flow, right? And so all of this is just telling me that you guys are very, very in tune with who you are and yourself as a whole, and like, you know who you are. You're not confused about who you are. But there may be some times where you're indecisive with temperance here. You can sometimes be a little bit indecisive or wishy-washy in certain situations, because you can kind of see the bigger picture of what's happening. And so it's not that you're necessarily not sure which decision to make. It's just that the decision may seem pointless when you can see the bigger picture of what's happening, if that makes sense. The next card you have is the Wolf, and then you have the Hummingbird. So I'm still learning this animal deck, and I want to read you what the Wolf says, because it's hilarious. So it says, guardian of family and tribe, activism and ritual. Isn't that funny? It says the wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching, religious or even political studies, etc. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following: embrace all, exclude none. So practicing tolerance, and that's, you know what I mean, what temperance can also help you with, and judgment. So with judgment here, sometimes you can be a little bit too demanding with people, like the wolf was saying. And the Queen of Pentacles goes with all of this energy, by the way, as well, which the wolf is of the earth element in this deck. But, you know, democratic, fearless, reliable, activist, ritual, which goes with temperance and the Queen of Pentacles, and guardian of the family. King and Queen of Pentacles is very family oriented. It is about, you know, the next generation, you know, like prepping the foundation for the next generation. So, and that's kind of what wolf energy is. But, oh, and it even says, when out of balance, it can be judgmental or dominating. So it's very important for you to practice letting go in certain instances, because with temperance here, you may always try to be fixing something. You may always try to fix a situation or to make a situation work even when it's like time to let it go. You know what I mean? So for the hummingbird is very positive, enthusiastic, and spiritually resourceful. It is smart, curious, and loves to learn. When out of balance, it can be pushy, insistent, or sharp. So inside the hummingbird, you know, lies this like endless well of like energy. And it even says the hummingbird's secret is that it has learned where to gather nectar, and it returns to these sources daily for nourishment and rejuvenation. The sacred elixir springs from many sources, but usually involves nature, creativity, and exploring spirituality. Follow the way of the hummingbird and you cannot go wrong. Every droplet of life becomes sweet, every moment worth savoring. So I think with like the whole nectar thing, it's funny because it's like, you know how to use the elements of the earth to kind of manipulate energy to get what you want in some ways, you know what I mean? Which is what alchemy is all about. You guys could be very good with like energy healing and energy work as well, but I really see you guys being very good with alchemy and ritual work and things of that nature if you haven't practiced that already. So next card you guys have is the Queen and the Vision. So like I was saying before, you guys almost have like a mother's judgment. It's normally called a mother's intuition, I know, but with this is more of like a judgment. I mean, it may be intuitive, but with the Vision there, that's kind of what I'm getting. It's like you can see the bigger picture, like I was saying, and it's not really, it's just kind of instinctive. Like you just know, you're very good at making judgments, but at the same time, it's very important that you balance that, you know, like we talked about, like you're not making judgments too quick, because that's what can happen with the Queen energy. There is this energy of the Queen. There is this energy of almost having these really cool, powerful, innate talents within you, this balance of energy within you, whether you're a man or a woman. And so with the Queen, you know, you can be very wise, you can be very helpful, but it's also important that you don't get too caught up in ego, or that you don't get too caught up in judging things instead of allowing them to happen, or trying to fix things when it's time to just kind of let them fade away, if that makes sense. So, okay, so your next card is Rhea, Flow. Wow, okay, that definitely goes with temperance. So it's really good to go with the flow. You guys do have this like go with the flow nature to you, but at the same time, when it comes to your family or when it comes to certain situations, you can tend to woof up, you know what I mean? So once again with flow, and you guys understand like the rhythm of the universe, you understand the flow of the universe. Sometimes you just have to, sometimes you get out of it because we're human, right? Like it happens. Sometimes you get out of the flow because of a certain situation, and then you have to kind of get back into the flow. Okay, so your next card is Lilith, Independence. You guys are very independent. You guys are very, you're not really like scared to tell it how it is. You're not really scared to, it's weird because it's like you go with the flow, part of you is kind of non-confrontational, but there's this other part of you that wants to buck against the flow, that wants to manipulate the flow, okay, that wants to kind of go against the flow, right? And so, and you're constantly kind of going back and forth with those two parts of you, with Temperance here, reconciling yourself over and over and over with Judgment. Your next card is Neptune, Sacrifice. Then we have Mercury retrograde, Reinvention. So some of you guys may have Mercury retrograde in your charts. You may have some strong Neptune aspects as well. But yeah, like you're with reinvention there, you're reinventing things, you're manipulating energy. That's what alchemy is, turning lead into gold, right? Like you guys are reinventors. Like seriously, you can see, like with the vision there, like you guys have a vision of what needs to be made, and of, you know, just this creative vision. And you're also very independent, but at the same time with the wolf is a pack animal, so you do like to have a family, you do like to have a close-knit tribe, but you also don't need like a relationship or any extra, you know what I mean? Like you don't need like huge, like a bunch of friends, right? Like you just need like a few solid people and you're good, right? So, and then also with Neptune Sacrifice, very creative, very able to tap into the flow of the universe, like I was saying before. And I do feel like you guys are willing to sacrifice certain parts of you for your family and for the people that really mean something to you, okay? You guys are very, very family strong. Like there's a strong root with family here, okay? Strong foundational pool, especially with the King and the Queen of Pentacles. I think that you guys are probably here to heal a lot of like ancestral karma with Judgment here. You're definitely probably here to heal a lot of things. So you're probably very creative, obviously, like we've already kind of talked about. And very imaginative with the vision and Neptune. Like, you know, you may be somewhat psychic, and you may even be able to communicate like somewhat like a medium, because you can tap into flows and you can tap into other dimensions and other worlds. So I would definitely that's probably something that you can do. So anyways, that is what I'm getting for you guys, pile number 6. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Definitely let me know down below if this resonated. I would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. Don't forget to like, share, and share this video. Times are rough right now and it would help your girl out. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.